Hey guys, welcome back to Jessin Reads Romance. I'm Jessin, and today I'm going to be wrapping up the last week in June. Now, I did read a lot of books for vlogs. I read books for Reverse Harem blog, and I also started the Historical Romance Readathon during the last week of June. I'm not going to go over those because I have dedicated vlogs for those books, so I'll just link those down below and also up here in case you want to go watch my full reviews because I go into great detail for all the Reverse Harem books that I read. It includes Den of Vipers, Hate, Dark Fae, and The Lady of Rooksgrave Manor. And then also some books that I read for the Historical Romance Readathon. Some of them were in June, some of them were in July. I have a whole dedicated vlog for those. And I did discover a new historical romance author that I really loved, and it was The Making of a Highlander. I highly recommend this book. So, okay, let's wrap up the other books that I did not vlog about. The first book that I'm going to talk about is Protecting You. Now, you might have seen in previous weekly wrap-ups where I talked about The Miles Family by Claire Kingsley. I really love those books so much. They're pretty low angst, very tight-knit family, small town feeling, and they felt like comfort reads to me. Like, I would reread these books if I just needed like a pick-me-up. I really love them. Low angst and just beautiful romances. Well, there's this character named Grace, and she pops up, kind of a spoiler for book one, so I don't want to get into that, but I was waiting for her romance. And then I found out that her book was in the spin-off series, The Bailey Brothers. And you don't technically have to read The Miles Family to understand the Bailey Brothers, at least not from what I've read, but it was really nice because I knew all the characters. Some of the Miles family popped up in Protecting You and Fighting for Us. So in the Miles family series, we are introduced to Grace, and she is wearing an engagement ring. And we don't really know anything about her fiance, but in one of the books, it's confirmed that he's in jail. So we don't know any information about that besides what Grace has said. He's in jail, and nobody pries, but that's the whole beauty of Protecting You and Fighting for Us. Both of these books are about the same couple. Protecting You is kind of the backstory with Grace and Asher. Grace was raised by a single mom. She has a younger brother. Her dad is just a piece of shit. And they're next door neighbors with these Bailey brothers. And the Bailey brothers, they lost their parents at a young age. There's 5 brothers total. Asher, Evan, Logan and Levi are twins, and Gavin. And they were taken in by their grandparents, and their grandmother is Native American. The Bailey family really looked out for Grace and her mom and her younger brother, so they're all real close. But Grace and Asher used to be absolute best friends. And as they got more into their teenager years, they both started having feelings for each other, but they were too afraid to admit it because they didn't want to mess up their friendship. So instead, they kind of drifted off a little bit until Grace is in college. Asher wants to be a firefighter, and sometimes Grace comes home, and finally there comes a point where Grace is single, Asher's single, and he's just like, what am I doing? I've always been into Grace, and I was too afraid to mess up our friendship, but now I'm going to miss a good thing. And so he slowly starts courting her, and it was such a beautiful romance. But of course, there's something that has to tear them apart. There's a reason why Asher is in jail, and we find out in Protecting You. And it's like more novella length. It's like a long novella. And so it kind of ends on a cliffhanger. And that's where Fighting for Us picks up. It's Asher's been in prison for almost 7 years. His sentencing was for 8 years, but he gets early release unexpectedly, and this plays a big part in Asher's struggle with kind of dealing with everything that happened in prison and trying to just be normal again. So the thing about it is, Asher was in prison, and his family would write him letters, and he decided that he wasn't going to open any of them. He wasn't going to open any of the letters that Grace was sending him. She wrote him the entire time, and she never got a response. She didn't know why. And we find out that he hasn't even opened them. He hasn't even read them because he figured that he needed to be hardened in jail because he became a target very quick. People wanted to fight him, people wanted to see what he was made of, and that's been his entire prison experience, is waiting for somebody to basically jump him. And he was like, if I read letters from the people that I love and I miss, I might lose hope, and I can't. I have to be in this mindset, so it's better if I just stay focused, really concentrating on surviving, and then I'll deal with it the closer it gets to my release date. But like I said, he suddenly gets released a year early, and he doesn't know what to do with this. He's like, I didn't have time to prepare. I didn't have time to get out of like this fight mode, and he still feels like that. And so he doesn't want to see Grace right away at all. And this hurts her. Of course it hurts her. And so this book is really about them fighting for each other, fighting for a relationship. Grace wants to be there for him. He's struggling with a lot of things. And she also experienced a trauma to do with why he's in jail. And she needs to deal with those things too. They're not as obvious as Asher. Asher has obviously gone through a lot of things. He's struggling even to reconnect with his brothers. His grandmother, which she's a favorite character. I love her so much. And she calls him Bear. She's the only one that just kind of like she's pretty good with the flow. He butts heads with his brothers a little bit, and he struggles with Grace's commitment to him because he's like, it would almost be easier if she moved on because I'm not the same man that she expects me to be, and like I don't know how to be that man anymore, and I hate to disappoint her, and I don't want to pretend like I'm the same because I'm not, and I know she wants the old Asher, but he's gone. So this one was a little bit more angsty. I really enjoyed Protecting You. I gave that one 5 stars. This one was a lot more angsty. I wanted to like butt their heads together sometimes, but I still did enjoy it, so I gave this book 4 stars. I still really loved it, but just compared to all the Miles family books and the first book, I was just like, that was a little bit more of a downer, but it ends in an HEA, so it's all good. The next book in the series, Unraveling Him, is about Evan and Fiona. Now, Evan Bailey is kind of a loner. He has gone through some stuff in his past. He doesn't really talk about it with his family. You don't really see him around a lot. And I forgot to mention in those first 2 books, in this small town, the Baileys have a rivalry with this other family that like goes back years and years and years, and nobody even knows how or why it started. They just know that it's the Baileys versus forgot their name. I want to say it's Haven. I think it's Haven. Don't quote me on that, but it's another family. And especially, it plays a bigger part in Evan's book because Evan is a mechanic and he also restores old cars. I don't know anything about restoring cars or just cars in general, so I was just kind of like along for the ride, and I didn't speak car, so I was just like, that sounds right. But his rival is Luke Haven. He also does the same thing as Evan, and they're both going to like compete in like a car show, and so Evan's been carefully restoring this old classic, and then he finds out, he gets a visit from the police chief, that this car that he bought from a dealer is actually a stolen car, and even though he has all the right paperwork, he has to give up this car. It has to be impounded. So he put all this time, effort, and money into this car, and he just completely lost it. The guy who he bought it from actually shows up at his shop because he wants to sell him more cars, and he's just like, no, you're dealing with criminal activity. You completely fooled me, but I'm no longer going to be dealing with you at all. Like, get off my property. And this guy had brought his daughter Fiona, and Fiona works in the office, and she's the one that contacts all kind of people for parts for cars and stuff for her dad. She basically runs her dad's office like a well-oiled machine, and her dad's always had trouble with staying on the right side of the law. She made him promise that he wasn't going to deal with these shady characters that he used to deal with. He kind of like got clean and started doing legit business, but now all of a sudden she's just like, you're doing it again. I can't watch you self-destruct. I can't get involved in this type of thing. And then the kicker is that Fiona finds out that Simone, who also works in the office, who she's been knowing since she was little, who is her best friend, is sleeping with her dad. And Fiona's just like, I can't deal with these people anymore. I need to go. And she is an estranged mom. Her plan is to drive to Iowa. The problem is the car that she drives, she's also restoring it, and she needs parts for it. She can't really get that far. Some major things need to be changed. She has this wild idea. She packs up her plants, and I really love Fiona's character because it's like, she's such a boss mechanic babe. She is beautifully curvy, and she has a ton of tattoos, and she is like the plant mom, and she names them and she talks to them and she babies them, and it's the cutest thing ever. And she is such a sunshine character, and Evan is a grump. So she makes a deal with Evan. She's going to help him find a newer, better car to make up for her dad's shitty dealings. And can I please stay here and work on my car so that I can get it up and running and drive the rest of the way to my mom's house? Evan reluctantly agrees. He does not want this sunshine in his vicinity. He's like, what is this crazy? No. She's so happy all the time, and she's bubbly, and she's singing this song. She's not even singing the right words. Like, what is this creature? Where did she come from? And I love the way that Fiona just worms her way into Evan's heart. And she also befriends his dog, which like, his dog is named Sasquatch, and Sasquatch even like is very protective of Evan when his brothers come over, and like his brothers are like, call your dog off. But Fiona gets to the house and she's like, oh, what a pretty puppy, and Sasquatch loves Fiona right away, and Evan's just like, wow, you traitor. It made me smile the whole time. I love this book so much. It is a 5-star read. 5-star read. I love it. I can't wait to read the next book in the Bailey brothers. This is the series that Claire Kingsley is currently writing. I think that there's one more book that needs to be written, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure it's Levi's book that still has yet to be written. I don't know when that one's gonna come out because Claire Kingsley did recently lose her husband unexpectedly. I did see that she was active on social media now, trying to move forward and stuff. It looked like she and Lucy Score, who she's best friends with, were on a writing retreat or something, or just hanging out, not sure, but I hope that she's doing better. I hope that she will continue with the Bailey brothers because I really love this series so much. Then I read Lessons in Sin by Pam Godwin. Now this book is kind of part of this connected series from Dangerous Press. Other authors are involved with writing characters in this world. So the heroine of this book, Tinsley Constantine. Tinsley Constantine is part of this family, and her mom's like the boss of this family. She's not quite mafia, but she's into some shady dealings. She has a lot of kids, and some of her brothers have books, but they're written by other authors, like Wicked Idol by, I can't remember. I'm gonna pop it up right here because I can't remember what the author is. I have this ebook and I didn't realize that it was connected until Jen from the Book Refuge told me. And I think also some Kay Webster books as well. So it's not like you have to read those books to understand Lessons in Sin. I just wanted to let you guys know, but Lessons in Sin is a taboo romance. But it's not like as dark as, I wouldn't consider this book dark at all, as other Pam Godwins. Honestly, the teacher-student relationship is more of a taboo thing in this book than the fact that the hero is a priest. That's just how it is. I would say it's not really comparable to Priest by Sierra Simone because the hero in Sierra Simone's book really struggles with kind of falling in love and do I choose this woman over God, my relationship with God? Like he felt like he was very religious. He was a very religious person struggling with, I'm falling in love with a woman. Priests aren't allowed to fall in love with women, so what do I do? In this book, in Lessons in Sin, the hero, Father Magnus, it's not like he ever felt like a calling to become a priest. He fell into it because he had some proclivities. He was a very powerful man. He made a lot of money, but he also had some interesting sexual kinks. And there's something in his past, kind of like a trauma that he was involved in, that he was just like, I have to remove myself from putting women in danger, and I'm going to become a priest so that I'm not around these older women, because he's always been attracted to older women. So he becomes basically the kind of like principal of this all-girls academy that like rich people send their misbehaving teenagers to, and there's like a sister school that's like all boys, and he runs the one for all girls. And like since he's attracted to older women, he's never tempted by any of these young girls, even though they're like thirsty for Father Magnus. They like all want him. And Tinsley's character is a little bit of a brat in the beginning. She's obviously acting out because she's just like, my mother's throwing me into the school. I don't want to be here. I just want to be normal, but she won't let me because she has big plans for me. She wants me to uphold the family name, basically have an arranged marriage with a douchebag because of business deals, and like, I don't want that. I want a normal life. And so she acts out whenever she first gets to the school. But I do really like Tinsley's character. She is a real big softie. She has a very soft spot for animals, and I like this romance between Father Magnus and Tinsley. It just all works out. You never feel like there's really a conflict between he's like struggling with wanting to stay in the priesthood because he really could give or take being a priest. He's just trying to hide from his proclivities. He doesn't really care about being a priest. So like that's why it didn't feel as taboo. I did really like this book. It's very kinky, also very sweet. I gave it 4.5 stars. I really did enjoy it. Like I said, I read some other really amazing books like The Lady of Rokesgrave Manor by Catherine Moon. That's in the Reverse Harem blog. I was pleasantly surprised. It was such a great reverse harem romance with monsters. It was very, very unique and I love it. I ordered a paperback of this book. I can't wait until like a signed paperback. I can't wait until it comes in. And also my favorite from the Historical Romance Readathon was The Making of a Highlander by Elisa Braden, a new favorite author, and this was included in June because it was the first book that I read for the readathon. It was phenomenal. I gave this for a gift for Patreon for our ride or dies who get seasonal books, and this was the one for summer because I loved it so much and I can't wait to read the second book in this series. All right guys, that's all that I have for you today. I'm very excited to jump into July. I'm probably going to start a reading vlog today for July. I still need to do my June wrap up though. probably should do that. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up, and if you're not already subscribed to my channel, make sure you subscribe to get notified at any future videos that I do. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, life's better with little HEA. Bye guys.